But yeah, this kind of tells the tale too.
Yep. Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Angela O'Hare, your one and only favorite Las Vegas realtor.
Hey, and I'm Rob Howe, a Rockstar Realtor.
And we hope you're doing well. Have you been?
I've been great.
Anything exciting going on?
It's been a great month for me. I'm getting ready for all the good stuff happening this month and Halloween.
Yes, and the weather's been nice.
Weather's been excellent. I was out at a friend's property yesterday watching the game in their backyard, just going, this is beautiful.
So glad that it finally cooled down. Last year this time we had our pool finished and it was still 100 degrees in October. So we've been blessed to have a very good year when it comes to temperature. Like July was very mild. August was a little hotter, but September was mild. And now we're in our 70s and 80s for October, which is perfect fall weather. October is typically, maybe April and October are the two best
It's
months.
usually our bookends where we get started. Towards the end of October, you start getting the wind and a little chill.
By Halloween.
Yep. It seemed like when I was a kid, every year I'd be wearing some plastic costume and it'd be cold out.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So a lot's happened on my end.
Yeah.
My little boy, Ozzy, passed away.
I'm so sorry.
15 and a half years old. And his sister passed away the year before. So now all we have is the 3 cats.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wanted to announce, I don't know if you saw this on Facebook, but I've been selected to be a host on a Emmy-nominated show called ADTV, or the American Dream Network.
Really?
TV.
I did not see that. No.
Yeah. So we get to be nominated as a host. And so one of the hosts, there's every episode, there's like 5 or 6 different agents from Las Vegas nominated. So it's kind of cool to say that, we're as seen on TV.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And
congratulations.
we get to have a filmographer and edit, and we get to choose who have more control of what we want, and that all the licensing aspects of all the videos that they film, we actually get licensed and we can repurpose all of the videos and all that good stuff. So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then the solar, we have the 2 Powerwalls.
Yeah.
We have 100% this month and part of last month, because of the weather, have not utilized the grid. So it kind of feels cool to be away from the grid.
Yeah, no doubt.
But once summer hits, of course, that's going to change because of
it can't keep up. I mean,
but having 2 batteries has been phenomenal, because we're giving back to the grid, and then we're building that credit system so that in the summertime,
you could have very, very low bills during the summer because of your credits.
And if there was a power outage for weeks at a time, we would be able to survive, because we only use about 50% of the 2 batteries throughout the day, and then it gets recharged up at night. So
that's a big reason to have the battery. The double battery.
But Vegas grid system is always very stable, so it doesn't really.
So far, so good. Yeah. I've had solar, but I don't have the batteries, and I want to get those. But I did get a plug-in hybrid. Now I've got a big SUV.
Did you get a new car?
Yeah.
What'd you get?
They made me a smoking deal. So I've in the past. So I went to Lexus.
You've been to like 3 cars since I've known you.
Yeah, I it's maybe not. Yeah, I guess it would be my 3rd. Yeah. So I lease my vehicles, of course. Okay. Yeah, and I've been with prior to Lexus, did 3 Mazdas in a row. And this time I went back to Mazda. My girlfriend had gotten a Mazda earlier this year, and I saw that they had this vehicle that I really liked. The most awesome version of it is amazing. It's like a luxury vehicle.
Because your car that you had before was a hybrid also.
It was a hybrid, but it was sedan. I was so done with the sedan, to be honest. Beautiful car, but they made me a deal I couldn't refuse on a car that I love. And I've got more than 3/4 of a tank left. Or no, I'm sorry, a 1/3 of a tank left, and I've driven like almost 600 miles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's great. So I'm using the solar from my house to charge my car.
Right.
That's why I was saying
I've never been a solar car person myself. Remember, I don't like Tesla.
EV. So yeah, that's what's great about this. It's both.
Yes.
So I still have the motor, but it has an electric motor, which I got to tell you, even in this car, driving that smooth electric, there's something nice about it.
I mean, I'm definitely not a Tesla. I don't like Tesla, period. But next year, maybe, hopefully, I'm going to give my car to Damien, and I want to get the Rivian.
Yeah, the Rivian's nice.
Yeah. I want an
all electric. Have you driven them yet?
No.
Oh, wait till you drive it. You're going to be like, you're not just going to want it.
Because I'm a very tech person, so I like all that technology.
Yep.
And the nice thing is that we'll putz around in the Rivian and not ever have to spend gas. We'll save $200 a month.
With your solar here, it's going to be like unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we'll just give my car to Damien. And then if we want to go on road trips, we can use the regular car.
That's where we are. We aren't at the point where electric vehicles will I don't think most households can have just an electric vehicle. If you go out of town at all, you need gas.
Well, I always think of it at the end of the world. I have that electric vehicle and I'd be driving around not relying on gas.
Yeah. As long as we're on this side of the country where it doesn't get too cold.
I watch too many zombie and ended world movies.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, that's enough about that. We spoke how many minutes of personal, but it's been a minute and lots happened in this month. But we want to go over the market update for September 2025 numbers.
We have very
We're
good
finally
stuff.
starting to see movement with the median price, which, for the longest time, we were hitting strong at either between 485 and 480. Mm-hmm. So we're going to delve into all those numbers as well as go over what I like to talk about, especially this time of year, new construction builder incentives, and some new things happening in Summerlin.
Okay.
And
lots of insights.
Lots of insights. And we want to address sellers as well.
Just a ton to tell you about today.
Yes. All right. So let's get started. So last month, there were 1,884 number of closings, which was up 2.7% from the prior year and up 5.2% from the prior month. So we were slightly up. And I was analyzing the numbers from years past, and this is kind of typical for this time of year to have this amount of closings. Like last year we had 1821, a little over 2,000. So I'm not too concerned about the number of closings that we had for September.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, it's still good volume low, but it's actually great that you see an uptick. And I think that's because you've seen buyers say, you know what, we should get involved now.
Yeah. After the feds kind of had their meeting and things, I've noticed like a relief.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of busy days, a lot of people more stepping out of the sidelines.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah. I mean, I think that you're seeing it in certain price ranges. You're still in these lower price ranges. It's not moving those people to do anything yet.
Right. So that brings us to the median price, which went from 480,000 in August to 470,000 in September, which is down 2.1% from the prior month and down 2.1% from the prior year.
It's about time.
Yes.
We've been sort of thinking that we're going to see that movement. Now we got a big chunky movement of 10,000 downward.
Yeah, because like we had been saying in all our market updates the last few months about comparing it to 2022 and how in 2022 they saw the decline in median price immediately.
Yeah.
Whereas it's taking us a minute. So by the end of 2022, they went from 482,000 to 425,000. That's big time.
Yeah.
And we hadn't seen that huge movement yet, but I think we're now in that right direction.
Yep. And it's right direction. Some people might, as owners of property, that's not the right direction. Well, for overall health, I think it is the right direction.
For affordability purposes.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, people can't afford a 470,000 home in today's interest rates. They say you have to work 190 hours a week in order just to afford that monthly payment. So yes, it sucks on our end because we won't get as big commission checks, but at the end of the day, it's about people being able to afford to buy.
I personally want volume.
Yes.
I'm not worried about one commission or two commissions being higher. I'd like to have 5 commissions, and have more people happy to buy property.
Exactly. And I saw somewhere in the RJ about how rent is declining drastically here in Vegas.
Yeah. That's something I could say is part of the Fed's plan. I mean, when they wanted to, when they talk about lowering, the inflation, that's part of what needed to be. I mean, rent went nuts.
Right. So if you're an investor, in reality, it's not a good time for investors to buy, because especially if you get an interest rate and you're looking for a rental, your mortgage payment is going to be higher than what you can get it to rent for.
This is part of why those lower price ranges aren't moving a lot of volume.
Right.
It's not just because people in those ranges can't afford, that want to just live there, primary residence buyers, but the investors usually buy up those properties.
Yes.
They find this not affordable. They find concern in that area.
Right.
Whether some of that concern is real or not, there's definitely the affordability part of it.
Yeah, because we were thinking, Monument over in Reverence, those townhomes over there off of Lake Mead. They're closing out, and they're offering some really great interest rate incentives, and some of them you can get it for like $480,000. And I was thinking, well, maybe we should do it as a rental investment. But even with that low interest rate, our monthly mortgage wouldn't even equal to what we can get it to rent for, and we would still be in the hole because you also have HOA. So it wasn't a wise investment to do. To warrant trying to invest in there. So anyway, that's my thought on.
Yeah, these are all pieces to the puzzle that we're going to get to about sellers too, where I have, that some sellers might be thinking, you know what, I'll just move to the rental market if I don't sell.
Right.
Well, if you got a great interest rate, if you don't owe a lot of money on your property, that might be a good idea.
Yeah. And you know what? Speaking of sellers, I guess we can kind of segue into that.
Okay.
Because I don't know where we would segue into it.
Okay. Yeah.
Rob and I were talking before we went live about how we've noticed a lot of sellers aren't budging. Their homes have been on the market over 90 to 100 days. I've been putting in offers, and we've been putting like 50,000 less because you know what? The market's not like it was. We're trying to make a negotiating deal for the buyers, obviously, but the sellers come back and counter back at 2,000 to 5,000 below asking, and not like really giving any good incentives.
Yeah.
They're not budging. They're being very stubborn.
There's a lot of stubbornness out there. They think that there's better things on the horizon they can hold. They're not worried about it. They've, some of them, there are various reasons why they can hold that posture. I've dealt with it too. That's dealt with it a lot.
Yeah, but you got to think, is it wise to let it sit? Because think of how much money you're losing on a month-to-month basis when you have to still pay your HOA and your monthly mortgage payment. Yeah. You're still losing money. And at the end of the day, if you can't sell it, then think of how much money you're losing. If your mortgage payment is $3,000, for example, that's $9,000 in 3 months that you've lost.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's the exposure too of what, you see, we're showing you this month, the median price went down, right? $10,000.
Right.
If that trend were to continue, you're exposed to that, right? As the seller. So making a deal now, even if it's at a number that is a little, you don't love, maybe it makes more sense though, to be smart with that. And if you're a buyer out there, this is what I'm telling any buyer I'm working with. You got to find the ones that are low in their price that want to sell. The trouble is that some of them think they have the gold and that it's going to sell better later.
But see, I blame it on a lot of the listing agents, because when I had listings, I had to tell my clients, let's get these price points, get price reduction. And we finally sold all my listings, but they listened. Sellers, some of these, they haven't had any price reductions in 90 days, right? And again, your house is not gold. And if you haven't sold it in 90 days, then what makes you think you're going to get it for the asking price that you want it for?
Yeah, well, I think they hear things like the interest rates going down. They think okay, it's this time of year. Maybe we'll go and well, if it doesn't happen now, we'll go to spring. What I'm seeing is a ton of sellers that are actually withdrawing. And if you look at our inventory was climbing, and now it actually declined.
Right, but for this market update, it increased.
Yes, but I'm going to tell you by week to week, what I look at is the number. So it's actually declined. And I looked, why is this happening?
Right.
Number one, we have less listings coming on this time of year.
Right.
Okay, and that's what's happening partially. But also you're getting withdrawals, you're getting expireds, and you're getting sellers going, you know what, I don't like this time of year. I'm going to go ahead and back off. They're the ones that have remained stubborn. And then what's going to happen though, when they go to spring,
right, is
there going to be a big onslaught of buyers to come in when all these onslaught of sellers decide to put their property on the market at the same time?
True.
Or are we going to deal with similar conditions, even though you might have more buyers? You're going to have another wave of inventory.
Right. I mean, if we follow the trends we did in 2022, I think by this time we had their peak, which is single family homes about 8,000. And then we saw that decline in inventory. And in 2023, as you know, was not a very stellar real estate year. So I think we may be in that whole trend cycle, like you said, where sellers are withdrawing and then they're going to relist in spring, but it may not be as a robust spring as we normally have. Yeah. I mean, our spring only lasted for maybe 2 months, March and April. After that, it was.
And my big point to make here is that if you're going to do that, because I still think that as a seller, maybe that's the time you want to list. Get it on early.
Yes.
Because last year we did see that actually January is very strong. Now that was after an election, and there was
and then we also have the California fires.
We had some of that early on in the year, so there was some momentum there. But I still think that you'll be able to adjust better if you're a seller by putting your property on earlier, maybe just ahead of spring,
February, March.
Yeah, even earlier, even January. Could mid-January, early January, because even if you're not moving and don't get it sold right away, you'll be able to adjust to what's happening in the market.
Yes.
And my thing is that we won't know until we get there if I'm right about, hey, these sellers are going to all say, you know what, we'll chill out now. We don't make it happen now.
Right.
We'll make it happen then.
We'll have to pay attention to the decline in number of listings without offers. And I think that you may be right that, I agree with you wholeheartedly. The beginning of the year is probably the better time. And that's what I saw last year or this year, where we saw higher movement. And then come May, it was hard. Now, as a seller, buyers are picky. They're looking for move-in ready homes. They're looking for clean homes. They're looking for homes that they don't have to do minimal updates to it. So homes that are still priced right and in a good location and upgraded nicely are still getting multiple offers and selling within that first week of being listed. If you have your home that's cluttered, that looks like a hoarder house, don't expect to be getting high prices, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, I think that, most sellers shouldn't be. Now it's a little different as you get into the luxury market. The luxury market seems to be where people can still afford to purchase if it's a home with all the bells and whistles in Summerlin and it's priced relatively reasonable. But these I think you're making a great point about, you have to have these properties ready to go. You can't have these houses looking like trash and asking for the next highest price in your neighborhood. That's where these sellers, I think, are going to be. You might be regretting your decision if you try to go too high on your price,
right?
And you really need to sell, because you're going to end up having to drop your price anyway.
Yeah.
And here's another thing: even if you wait till spring, my feeling is that, and it's not even a feeling. I just really solidly believe this right here. You've got to price it right to sell.
Yes.
You've got to be smart with your pricing. If it's right now and you want to get it done right now, if you price it right, you can. And it's going to be the same experience in spring, I believe.
Yeah. And if you do want to sell in spring, take this time to really, really take care of your house. hire a home inspector, see what issues are there.
Yeah.
Take care of all the little piddly stuff. If your house is painted multiple colors, paint it a neutral color. Take care of all of those types of things and declutter, depersonalize, get it ready to list.
Yeah, because you said it. The buyers are not going to change their mindset about being picky right now.
Yeah.
They're not going to suddenly be like, oh,
well, they have so much inventory they can be picky.
Yeah, and they're going to be going in with that mind frame for the next several months, as far as I can see.
Yep.
Here's the thing, and we can even pull this up if it's on the.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
Yeah, I just noticed this, and maybe it stuck out like a sore thumb more than usual. But you see here, we got median list price.
Yes.
Right there, you see it on those new listings coming on. Okay.
Yeah.
Median price $524. That's up 4.8% from last month or year?
That's a good question.
Either way, it's up it's up a bunch. That's a good up number. So sellers are coming on the market with these strong list prices.
Yeah.
Hey, you need to take a page out of the next level here where we go to condo townhomes. They're the ones figuring out that maybe they shouldn't do that.
Yes.
Because their list price is down 6.8 on the median price for new listings.
Right.
The people in those price ranges understand and want to get their property sold. That's what I'm seeing.
So basically, which is a fallacy where we've seen before and we've said in prior videos, don't list high thinking you're going to get the offers and have it lower, right? List it right. So that you sell it fast, so you don't get the lower prices.
Have it ready. Yeah. Get that property golden. You're going to be dealing with people. I mean, think of yourself on this market. If you were the one buying out on this market,
right?
Would you not be taking a posture of I'm going to be like really looking for something that if I'm going to spend this money, it needs to be what I want.
Exactly.
And it needs to be clean. It needs to be things I don't have to deal with, and I'm going to get a price that I like.
Yeah. So in 2022, the median price in September was $450,000.
Okay.
So they started seeing the decline in June, just kind of like we had it. We were just finally seeing the decline. So that was at 482 minus 450 is how much?
It's 32,000. Yeah.
So they saw 32,000 decline. And we've only seen now a $10,000 decline.
15 from the high, from 485, right?
Yes.
485, so we got tricked because remember we saw it drop to 480 and we were going, it's gonna happen like it happened in 22, right?
Right.
It didn't.
Yeah. So yeah. Now my prediction is that I think we will now continue to see the median price finally go down.
Yeah, because even with all we're saying about the stubborn sellers that are out there, when I look on the 7-day average, you've got nearly 1,200 sellers that are lowering their price every week.
Wow. Yeah.
So those are the people, if you're a buyer, those are the people you're trying to work with. The ones that want to make a deal, the ones that got to get the property sold.
Yeah. If it's been on the market for 90 days and they haven't once done a price reduction, that's not a seller you're going to be wanting to work with.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
We'll see.
And another interesting thing that I'll point out is because I had this happen in trying to get a contingency accepted. We have 11 contingencies on our MLS right now, which means that 11 sellers accepted a contingency to sell their property, which means typically that contingency is that the buyer needs to sell their home.
Right.
Okay. But the sellers know, because they've been on the market how long? 90 to 100 days.
Right.
That they don't want to take that contingency and then now they're waiting on another domino to fall before they can take. But I think if you were going to test where desperation was starting to come in, it would be in that contingency area. If we start seeing more contingencies, that means more sellers want to make it happen and are willing to wait and just cross their fingers.
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed a lot of my clients this year, and even last year, it's actually this year, they were able to finance, get a new loan, and then they would sell their house after they purchased here in Vegas. So a lot of people were able to afford that, which is more power to them to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So I saw a lot of that throughout, but they didn't want to wait to get the cash to buy. because they wanted to get the house that they wanted. So they were able to get approved for a loan and then sell their house after they move.
Yeah, not everybody can do that.
Right.
And, not the other thing is that in my particular case was my client has been looking for a property that'll work for them. And it's still not there, even with all our inventory.
Yeah.
You're experiencing that, right?
Yep.
So we are seeing that, even in certain, areas and properties, you're still not seeing like 10 of what you want to see.
Right. Because it's all junk.
Yeah. That's exactly. Some of it's junk. It's overpriced. It needs work. So my client said, you know what, if I'm going to take one of those properties on, they're going to take my contingency. And what did the seller do? They said, snub their nose. At least for now.
Right. All right. Let's get back to the numbers. Well, we had 3,161 new listings in September, which is down 1% from the prior month, but up 11.7% from the prior year. So at least we're starting to see, like you said, a decline in the number of new listings, but in
as slight as it may be, you see that last year we were starting to incline.
Oh, we didn't go over condos. We'll have to go over that next. Last year we had 2,830 new listings. And then in 2022, we had 3,376 new listings. But typically we were in that 3,000 range. It seems like in the last 5 years, for the most part. There was a couple months that were at 24 and 28, but the rest were in that 3,000 range, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'd be happy with whatever's coming on as long as the equal amount is coming off, right? That's where we need to be.
Right, exactly. So, and I guess because there wasn't that much that sold, only 1,800 versus 3,100 that's coming on the market, correct?
Yeah, and you have some stuff that's also sticking around, so that's kind of what. Yeah. But that's because we're looking back at September. I am going to say that as we climbed into October, I am seeing that we had that buildup happening in September. It is starting to do what a normal thing would happen this year, which is decline a little bit.
Yeah, and like I've said, I've always done very well fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Usually my third quarter slow, and October, sometimes I'll have 10 closings in a month, 5 to 10 closings. This October, I only have 3, which is lower than I normally have. So I think my fourth quarter is not going to be as abundant as it has been in years past because of just the way things are. But again, I've seen a pickup.
I'm seeing first quarter going to be very good.
Yeah.
That's
what we like to do is we start this time of year, we start working on sales for next year. Mm-hmm. So we have 5 sales already slotted for new construction for next year. So that's what we like to do, is not only just focus on the end of the year, but we also start focusing on the next year, because having that buildup helps throughout the year.
That's exactly what I got going on. Lots for next year, a little bit for this year.
So that brings us to listings without offers. Where'd my mouse go?
We were going to do condos.
Well, let me finish this because it's part of that.
Sorry,
that thing. So there are 7,502 listings without offers, which is up 4.1% from the prior month, and I always get that wrong, and up 37.4 from the prior year.
So the good news here is that it's only 4.1%. It is up, but we were seeing in previous months that prior year number was like way off. Remember, we were like looking at I think it was like 80%, maybe even higher. On a couple of those months where it was like, whoa, we had extreme jumps.
Well, last year, this time it was 5,257, but in 2022, we had 8,121. And I think that's when they hit their peak. And then that's when they started going down. Yep. And that's just, again, single family homes. This does not include condos. Of course, that number would be almost 10,000. Right?
We are at 11,000, basically. We peaked at nearly 11,000, at nearly 11,000.
How's that possible?
What do you mean? Total on market. Yeah. Total on market. We are on 11. We are 11,000. Actually, it just dipped below 11,000 last I looked. But it peaked at nearly 11,200. That's what I'm trying to say.
Let me see what the condos. Let's go back to condos. So we're at, say, 7502 for single family and 2605 for condos. Oh, my thing doesn't work. Do you have a calculator?
I do, yeah.
Never mind. I turned it off. Let me see. So 2605 plus, what did I say? 7502
Yeah, there's actually another page that shows it on here.
equals 10,107.
Yeah, so not sure what they're missing in there, but when you look at total on market, it could be that there's some land in there that they don't calculate on this.
Well, so for single family homes, condos, and townhomes, we're at 10,107.
Yeah. And this is tough to read for me right here.
Yeah.
But it should
And you
show
need
it
your
in
glasses, right?
here. Yeah.
I have the page. Let me go up here.
Anyway, I don't think it's on here. Anyway.
Right here. New listings, number availability.
9587. So I don't know.
Oh, no, they say 9587. Yeah, that's weird.
They're missing some. I mean, it could be just land.
Yeah.
Or at land and you know what it is? Multi family.
Duplexes.
Yeah.
And high rises and condos.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now, sorry, we're switching back and forth. Let's talk about condos briefly. The condo median price. Let me see if it declined or anything.
I think it was pretty stable there.
Yeah, it went from 298,000 to 294,000, which is only down 1.3% from the prior month, and also down only 1.8% from the prior year. So it's not that huge of a decline compared to what we've seen before in the past.
No.
But they did go up to almost 350 or 315,000 in median price.
That was the peak, was 315.
Right.
I'm gonna just easily say we're gonna see more pullback on the condo and townhomes.
Yes. Well, it becomes expensive too now when you start adding HOA and everything else.
And just looking at the median list price there being 288, it's lower than the median sales price. So
Right.
I think that we're going to naturally see lower sales ahead for condo.
And you always say that we always start seeing it first in the condo townhome sector.
They're the last to go up, first to go down.
Yeah. So we forgot to mention the luxury market. There were 146 luxury homes that sold in September over $1 million, which compared to August's 120 homes. So we saw a 26 home increase in the number of homes sold over $1 million. However, the median price saw a slight decrease. It went from 1,420,000 to 1,344,975, which is $75,000
and $25.
Yeah, that's wrong. Decrease. Yeah. And
yeah, decrease. Yeah. Difference.
Yeah.
Very stable.
Yeah.
Very stable.
They've always been between that 1.3 and 1.4 range.
And the 146 number is about what we've been seeing.
Yeah.
If you averaged it out, I'm going to guess it's been around that 140 to 150.
Yeah, remember
number.
at one point in time we saw it under 100, like in the 90s.
When
80s.
we started, it would be around there.
Yeah. And then now we're going to go to months of supply.
Months of supply.
So months of supply went to 4 months.
Okay. We're finally seeing that uptick a little bit too.
Yeah. And remember we used to say that 6 months of inventory is a traditional buyer's market. However, after 2 months of inventory, I think it's a buyer's market, in my opinion. So we are definitely in a buyer's market right now. And we have been a buyer's market for at least the last 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So we're 4 months of inventory is very high for us, right?
Yeah, it has been in the last few years.
So that was 1.4% increase from prior month and a 30.7% increase from the prior year.
Mm-hmm. Time on market as well is changing.
Yeah. So, but compared to 2022, we had 4 months of inventory also same time.
Mm-hmm. So that was the last time we had that much, which makes total sense because we saw those numbers earlier.
Yeah, and last year the months of supply was 3 months, and we thought that was high then as well.
Mm-hmm.
And the prior month it was 2.2, and in 2021, which was like the best year, it was at 1.1 months of inventory. Actually, we've had it a lot lower during the springtime. It was like 0.8.
Yeah,
months.
we've been down to like unbelievably
very anemic.
Low.
Yeah.
But this, what we're seeing we're getting back to more traditional inventory levels prior to COVID, but we're not getting back to traditional buyer levels.
Yes.
So that's why we caution you sellers, because what's going to change that? Interest rates will help, but I think overall affordability still needs to be,
I mean, you hear on the news, I read the RJ every day about the tourism, the unemployment, people losing their jobs. I mean, I know that not all of our employment is through the service industry, but it's a good chunk of it. And, also hear things where people are requiring people to go back to work instead of doing things remotely. So all those people that bought from California have to go back to work
here anymore. Yeah,
exactly. So there's a lot of different scenarios. In the last 3 years, we saw very little inventory besides 2024, was because people had their low interest rates at 2.5%, 3%. Why would they want to list their home?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Something has shifted in the market now to get this abundant amount of inventory.
Yeah, and I think it's just bottom line is we have more traditional movement that people always have to buy and sell. They're always going to have those motivations, but more to the seller side right now than the buy side. Right. So that's where you're, speaking of anemic, we're anemic on those buyers.
Yeah, the roles have reversed.
Yes, the roles have reversed. It's clear as a bell. The difference is that what's interesting is that we have these sellers holding the line that we've been talking about. These sellers that are being stubborn and holding the line, saying, "Look, we just don't have to sell." Again, my thought and advice is that you have to understand that you could be exposed, that things could change. When we talk about economic things, we hope and we think that things are going to remain stable, but who knows that? Let's be honest. Now, right now, foreclosures they're still 25% less than they were, they're still 25% less than they were in 2019, which is pre-COVID levels. So foreclosure levels are not like at any,
and short sales is bare minimum.
So these, people talk about there's a lot of distress. So you're kind of covered. I think sellers feel like their tails are covered. But what happens if the winds change a little bit?
Even if there were an exuberant amount of foreclosures, doesn't mean you're still going to get a good deal.
No, and that all takes time, right? Yeah. That whole expression would take time. But I just think that the sellers that are remaining sticky to this have to be careful, because at some point, if there were enough sellers that have the need to sell versus the ones that don't, they're going to end up dictating the market here.
Right.
And maybe it's already happening and sellers are just not they're not seeing it.
Yeah. Or they just don't have good agents to just tell it like it is.
I think yes. There's a reason why some of these people hire their agents, and it's because their agents nod and say yes.
Or because the agents were discount agents and only gave them a 1% commission, and this is what you're going to be getting because they're just doing the bare minimum.
Penny smart, nickel foolish. You're not looking at the big things. And if an agent is going and grabbing comps from 6 months ago, guess what? They're wrong.
Yeah.
They're not on par with what's selling right now.
Exactly.
In many cases, not every case.
Yeah.
But so you might have a special property that's outside of but we're talking general here. We're talking to people who generally are out there, and you've got to be smart right now.
Yeah. And then that brings us lastly for the numbers, and then we'll go over some questions. Only 50.2% of the closings was on the market 30 days or less. 54.1 was for the prior month, and then 61.5 for the prior year. Now, I remember those numbers used to be like 80%.
Yes.
Homes used to be put it on the market that weekend and it's gone. Now, as we say, as a seller, don't expect your home to sell within the first week unless it's priced right. And what we've said in the past, 30, 60, 90 days. And your agent should do an analysis of what the average days on market are selling in that neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And your competition, what's out there that's just like you.
Right. And if there's no sales for the same house, see what's being sold with the competition. Exactly. You know what? We forgot to go over average.
Oh, we were doing you did an average this time.
Yeah, I think I did.
We've been
okay, here we go.
That.
So the average, I don't know if it's going to be a good matrix to follow because it's all over the place.
There is a reason why they do the median, but
yes.
Yeah.
So the medium, okay. So the average for September was 617,312. And in August, that number was 582,582. So we had a little over 31,000 increase in average price.
Okay. That's actually great though. This does tell the tail.
But it's interesting because the average went up and the median went down.
It is, but that may be a secret little hit, something that we are seeing that we need to be alerted to, because I've been saying that we're not seeing these sales in the lower price ranges.
Right.
It's mostly 500 and above. That's where you're seeing a bulk of these things. But so your average ends up being higher. But if your sales overall are still pulling down that medium, that's just telling you that you're in a declining market, but you still have these people who can afford a little bit higher prices.
True.
But all those lower prices are getting hammered.
Yeah.
And that may be, we're seeing it in condos. It just very well could be the canary in the coal mine kind of thing.
Yeah. That's an interesting analogy.
I'm not saying that we're having a crash market. What I'm saying is that underneath all this is it's not as sturdy as it might have appeared the last several months.
So we'll pay attention next month to see if we do have a decline again in median price. Did the average, did it go up also?
Yeah. Or are we starting to see that some of those sales are happening in the lower price ranges,
right,
and pulling the average to more,
Yeah, because it's not a very consistent. And I think that's why you said why they follow the median price, because it's more medium.
Yes.
Instead of the average.
It's supposed to.
And we could have had more higher end luxury homes that sold for the average to be higher.
Well, you didn't pull in the luxury million plus, right? When you do the average, or do you?
I do the medium and for the luxury.
Okay.
When I do it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So
it gets a little confusing,
yes.
but it is something that I think is showing us something.
All right. So
it's showing us something.
This client, hi Rodney, he says it's the same reason we haven't bought in Summerlin yet, because the rent will not cover the mortgage costs. Yeah. I know that you had been interested in Monument as well. And I was trying to think for myself if I were to do the same thing that you were thinking about doing, and it wasn't worth doing the investment. And I see some agents really trying to promote buying new in Summerlin West and making an investment, but I just don't see how they can get those rental, especially on a 2,500 square foot house or 2,000 square foot house. There's no way you're going to be able to make your mortgage payment and make any money at the end.
No, that would be more to put money and to let it equity growth, or just to have property.
True.
You're not
going to make any money. You're just going to be able to pay your rent mortgage, and that's it.
Which, if you're a high believer in real estate, which you should be, then okay, you're just investing more in real estate. Fine. But that's probably for a far fewer people.
Right. And then, hi, Stephen, how are you? And then Rodney asks again if we're seeing foreclosures in Summerlin. Honestly, I don't really pay attention to foreclosures.
But the answer is no.
Yeah.
By any real number, no. That now there could be, there's stuff that like Zillow has out that you can foreclosure watch and stuff. And just because somebody goes behind, they end up popping up on there.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that they're going to go through into the foreclosure.
Because that foreclosure process takes a long time.
This is the big difference with foreclosures pre-COVID and now. Okay. It's equity and opportunity. Okay. The equity that people have would basically dictate that they're not
post-COVID.
After COVID.
Yes,
So the equity that people have, and even after, the 2008.
Right.
So the equity people have will dictate that they're not going to let that property go into foreclosure fully. They're going to sell.
Right.
Okay. And even if they have to sell it at a deal, what's better, losing the property completely or making 50 grand on your property?
Unless they recently bought the house and they don't have the equity that's gained.
That would be a very rare case, because most of these people, they get into the buying process because they are pretty stable. Things do happen. So those are rare cases, but they can happen. But just speaking overall, like if you saw a bunch of numbers, certainly they're going to try to sell first.
Yeah.
Second of all, opportunity. What's the opportunity? Well, the opportunities that didn't exist before are the lenders and the way they work out modifications now.
Yes.
So people, there might be like a lot of people that are having tough time, but they're getting the opportunities to not go into foreclosure.
Yeah, they have some kind of waiver variance or some kind of thing. I forget.
They can modify the loan, and they can put whatever they owe back into. If they have that much equity, the lenders are happy to do that rather than for taking back property.
Yeah. So I want to talk about Summerlin. Damien and I have been doing a lot of videos on equity gained in a lot of these Summerlin construction areas. We just recently posted a video on the Kestrel Village and how much equity it had gained since 2022 to now. Watch my video. And then we did the Grand Park Village, even though they just recently opened up at the end of last year. They've seen some good amount of equity gain. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be posting next week on Ascension, and Ascension. And the Point by Pulte Homes saw $415,000 equity gain in almost a 2-year span.
Unbelievable. They were a high price to begin with, right?
Yeah. And then the second one in Ascension was Crestline at 303. Now, this doesn't take into consideration the lot premiums or structural options. This is just based on the base price from when they first opened to the base price of where they were when they closed out. Ridgeline and also Incline have sold out. The Point, which is by Pulte, is almost sold out. And then the 2-story homes have some lots left, but it's amazing. And I knew as soon as Ascension opened up that they would see such great equity gains because of what happened in Mesa Ridge.
Yeah. And they were the only game in town for a little while there.
Yeah. And their clubhouse should be opening in next spring or summer. But watch that video because there's some shocking revelations when I post it next week on all that equity gain.
I think that's a great video to watch. I think that's incredibly important for sellers to understand where you have gone. If you are one of these people that are now selling, even 2 years later, you just took part in something that may never happen again.
Well, if you're an investor, I highly recommend buying in those communities that first open up, and then after it's done being built, you've gained tremendous amount of equity. Now, in Summerlin West in the Grand Park, Brantley, they've released their prices. They started pre-selling like they did over in Summerlin South. Mm-hmm. They don't have the models open, and they've already sold 14 lots, and they started pre-selling.
Wow.
The prices are phenomenal starting prices, unlike some of the other builders that were starting at 1.5 million, 1.6. Their single-story homes were starting in the mid 900,000.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And so I actually went under contract with a lot that someone's going to be building over there. They had a few move-in ready or spec homes over there. So if you want to buy in the Brantley, call me, because when that community is done, you're going to see, just like Incline, which has similar floor plans, I've gained a lot of equity.
How are they able to be so competitively priced? Do you have a beat on that?
Well, I mean, Pulte, when they first started in Ascension, say like their famous floor plans, the Garden Gate and the Park Lane, they started in that mid to high 900 range. Mm-hmm. And by the time the community sold out, they were at 1.2.
Yeah.
So I guess because they're the 2,000 square foot, 2,400 square foot floor plans, they're not the big ones.
Okay.
Because some of the bigger ones, the 4,000 square foot ones are at 1.4.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, that's like, and that Brantley is going to be right next to the Grand Park, which is a great location. Now, lots in Summerlin, they're just not going to be big lots, right?
Yeah.
It's for the location, being close to the mountains, having the beautiful elevated views of the Strip, and close to Summerlin amenities. You're going to have crammed yards, unfortunately. Yeah. And if you want views, those views are going to cost a little more money, like a lot premium of $300,000, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you always have to remember the things you can't change, and location, they don't say it 3 times for nothing.
Right.
And we've seen what you're talking about with the equity video. You've seen the proof in the pudding of what happens in Summerlin. And it's a commodity that is going to run out. And it's not long before that'll be all gone.
Soon. I mean, I watched videos from like 5 years ago when the Red Point was opening, and how desolate that whole area was.
All that, yeah.
And now it's like, built, right?
Yeah.
So now, speaking of Summerlin, there's a lot of good news happening in Summerlin. Down there in Ascension, they had announced last year or beginning of this year that Pulte bought 400
in
the back, and they're calling it the Back Bowl.
Oh, they actually calling it the back?
Well, I don't know if that's the real name, but they call it the Back Bowl. And so
I hope that's not the real name.
No, but they sold the land for $100 million, and they bought 240 acres on 2 miles. And let's see, they're going to have 400 homes, and it'll be a guard gated community right behind Ascension. So it could be Ascension 2.0. And when Summerlin sold Ascension to Toll Brothers and Pulte back in 2021, they sold it for $135 million. Damien and I were figuring, how much money do they have to sell the lots for to recoup that amount of money? And the reason why Summerlin homes are more than anywhere else in the valley is because of the lots, how much they had the land.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right. So they call it the Back Bend, but I don't know, or the Back Bowl, but I don't know. That's just their slang name.
It's a working name.
Yes, exactly. And I don't know when they're going to start on that, but they just announced that another sale. There were Trio home builders bought 87 acres in Summerlin West for almost $150 million combined. And the plans for hundreds of new homes on the edge of Far Hills at the top, which is probably going to be La Madre Peaks now, because you got the Grand Park going this way, La Madre Peaks. And so there's 37 acres is going to go to Pulte Homes, and Pulte bought it for $55.4 million. Then 126 lots will go to TriPoint Home on 29.5 acres. So that's telling me what? They're going to have small lots, small houses, or the houses close together, for $54.35 million. And then KB, 99 lots. Okay. Then KB bought 20.6 acres for $38 million, and they'll have 104 lots as well.
Okay. And we know what KB likes to build, so we can kind of wrap our minds around some smaller property there.
Exactly. Or it could be what they have at Alton or
they want to go
Caldwell Park, right? Yeah. It'll be probably the similar product that they have over there, Landings product. So anyway, that's it for Summerlin news.
I'm going to throw in, and it's not necessarily Summerlin, but they have that Lennar community that's going to go through the middle of Queens Ridge.
Yeah, the preserves.
Is it the preserves?
Or the reserves?
It's the old Badlands golf course.
Yeah, I think it's the
reserves. I think
it's preserves.
Is it preserves?
My phone's on silent.
Anyway, that's
reserves or preserves. But I think it's preserves.
For your money, you might be looking at that. From what I understand,
I think it's like 1,500 homes or something.
Yeah, there's quite a few homes, and they're going to be nicer. Like they're trying to make upper end sort of product there to fit in.
Right.
But also, it's going to be a Lennar home, so it's not going to be like super high end. It'll just be larger, nicer.
Right.
And I think that if you're looking for a deal that's not quite Summerlin, but Summerlin still.
Yeah, and it's right by Boca Park, Tivoli Shopping Center, close to your house.
Yeah, guard gated neighborhood.
So Astra, which is the luxury,
ultra luxury,
yeah, without the golf course. I got an email the other day that they've been selling a lot of lots, and they're doing their next round of lot sales.
Did they go up in their price?
I don't pay attention to it because I just don't focus on trying to get a client like that. But if you've been up there, you really need to drive up there because they already have the entry. They have the guard gate already. It's pretty cool up there. And it's right below Esplanade, which is a new Taylor Morrison guard gated community that was supposed to be geared toward 55 plus, but now it's just not. It's an all single story community up there. Anyway, a lot's going to be happening once they get more of the Grand Park underway. Expect next year they're going to start with La Madre, which is above parallel to the Grand Park. And the Grand Park phase 1 is supposed to open by the end of this year.
Do you recall how many acres that park is? 90 acres. So
they're going to have pickleball courts.
Nice.
But not as many as I think they should have.
Probably not.
Only like 4, which, they need more. Because the pickleball courts down in Summerlin South over in the Cliffs Village is always
it's going to be like ants on a freaking, trash can or something.
I mean, come on. Build a pickleball court, like 20 courts, right?
Yeah.
Because it's people play it.
They do.
But they have 3 softball fields.
Nice.
And a park play area, restrooms. We did some drone footage over it so we can see what it looks like. They're wrapping it up, and they should be opening it up in the next month or 2.
So it sounds like La Madre will have those views of the park. So if you're
Grand Park has the views. Well, yeah, when you're coming down, because it's going to be kind of like a linear 90 acres, but they're only finished with the first phase of it. So I don't know when they're going to start with the second phase, but they're starting to open a lot of, and they have little parks in between the different neighborhoods in Grand Park as well.
I mean, that's what's so beautiful about that area and how it's just taking shape. That's another thing beyond the equity that you're growing in some of these areas. What's happening with the
again, community. I did a Grand Park equity gain, and some of these builders gained 60 to 80,000 in just 6 months.
Yeah.
That's
even in this market.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. All right. So now let's talk about new construction. And I really like to hone in on new construction this time of year. We've been doing this since probably 2022, once they started increasing the interest rates, and builders were like, hey, you know what? Let's try to
incentivize.
Yeah. So now once we start seeing the interest rates going down, and inventory going down, I don't think the builders, because what I've noticed, a lot of these builders are tapering off of doing spec homes, especially Lennar. I think a lot of these builders are going to start building on demand and not offering or incentivizing these incentives, these lower interest rate incentives. And it's going to be more like what we saw prior to COVID and prior to 2022. Right?
Yeah, we're getting back to some traditional, things.
But right now, the builders are hurting just like anyone else in Las Vegas. That's why they are offering some really good stuff. And I saw last month or a couple weeks ago, Lennar had 1.75% interest rate for the first year. That a 2-to-1 buy down, 2.75 and 3.75 from years 3 through 30.
Take advantage.
I mean,
come on, folks. A home you like, you need to make it happen.
I'm sorry, sellers, but new construction, if you can get a good interest rate like that below what the average interest rate is now on a normal loan, then I would buy a new construction home.
Yeah.
But it has to be, of course, move-in ready.
Yeah. But, it's all area specific too. Some of these sellers we're talking about seeing stubbornness is from Summerlin sellers where, even the builders aren't giving super great deals.
Some builders aren't. I just went under contract on Vertex. It was a move-in ready home, and they're only giving me 2% on base price.
Really?
Yeah.
Vertex.
They did go down. They gave my client I think it was listed at 560 something, and we got it down to 510.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Which is a townhome community, which is a good savings for her, but I wasn't able to really negotiate higher on me. So some builders like Pulte, I'll sell Pulte all day long because they treat real estate agents very well.
I mean, that's fair too. If they're going to come down, on their price.
True.
Yeah.
True.
We always want what's best for our client.
Of course. Yeah. I'm not going to say I don't want you to buy this because I'm not getting much commission.
Yeah. No, it's all fair.
Yeah,
it's all fair.
Exactly. So Century Communities is having their core memory savings event with unbelievable savings on select move-in ready homes when you use Century Communities affiliated lender Inspire Home Loans. And so you get a 30-year fixed rate plus $5,000 closing costs on 3 different offers. The first offer is an FHA and VA loan at 3.875% fixed, which is good. Mm-hmm. Century Communities has some new communities over there in Sky Canyon. Very nice homes, moderately sized, 2,000, 2,200 square foot. Good deals there.
So that's life of the loan, 3.875. Yeah. I haven't seen that for a while.
Yeah. And then they have a 30-year 7-6 conventional ARM, which means for the first 7 years, you get it at 3.875. And then after 8, it adjusts for the next year. So by then, most people aren't in their home that long, or they can refinance it.
It's the rare time where I'm saying these types of things make a lot of sense, because you're very likely, it gives you enough time to be able to, whether you're going to move in 6 years or 5 years, or whether you're going to be able to refi.
And it's not like the ARMs back in 2006, 7, right? Where there was like a 3-to-1 ARM where the first 3 years it was this. And then after that, it went up like crazy. No one can afford their mortgage.
Yeah. You're not going to get caught in a situation that you don't know is coming pretty well.
Or they have a 30-year fixed conventional loan at 4.875. If it were me, I would just do that ARM one at 3.875.
Yeah, because I think you're basically buying yourself time to be able to survey, and as long as you don't live there and forget that rate's gonna change. You know?
And so you must go into contract on or before November 15th and close by November 28th, which is I think it's a Friday, which is, or is that Thanksgiving?
It's getting close to Thanksgiving there. Yeah.
So Richmond American is having their Red Ribbon Savings event on their move-in ready homes. And you must finance through their Home American Mortgage Corp. They have a lot of these builders I'm seeing doing flex funds, where you can get up to 51,000 flex funds on the quick move-in homes, or opt for the 100,000 toward the flex funds, and you can use those flex funds towards closing costs, interest rate buy down, or a discount on the purchase price up to 2%. Or they have the 5-to-1 adjustable ARM, where you also get 3.75% interest rate on the first 5 years, with a max of 8.75% after year 6. Or they have a 3.99% 30-year fixed FHA or VA, or 4.50 30% fixed interest rate on a conventional. And you must go under contract from now until October 12th, which is very soon, and close by December 31st.
Yeah, hopefully they'll extend that a little bit if you need to.
Well, Richmond and Century, they tend to just revamp it and similar.
Repackage it, still have the same deal.
Exactly.
Maybe even slightly better as we get towards the end of the year. It's not always into December. It's actually these next like 30 to 45 weeks, days that we're seeing that.
Well, I found that in September, and I've been noticing the last few years is when it's the time.
Is that?
Because like I said, because Lennar had their 1.75. Yeah. But these are still very good interest rates to take advantage right now, because I think as November progresses, I have a feeling that that's not going to be as good as today.
That's what I'm kind of saying. Yeah. It's like it's not always you get deep into the end of the year that you're seeing the strongest
Well, because they need some builders end of year is November.
Yes.
Whereas some is December, so their fiscal year starts differently. Like I think Lennar's is October, and I think that's probably why they were trying to push it. Yeah,
they may do that so that they kind of don't have like 3 of the most down typical months in a row. So they kind of push it in so that you're cutting it into more into the December, January, February, or November, December, January, so that it's not just the 3 worst months as your last quarter, right?
Which has always been my first or best quarter.
Yeah, but for builders, it's probably on average not their best.
Well, I mean, my best quarter is always second too, but quarter four is always good, a strong contender, especially for new construction. One here in December in 2022, I had 10 closings, all new construction homes.
Wow.
Because that's when they were starting to do the incentives.
Yeah.
Now, Taylor Morrison's having their Deal Days event. And again, you need to use their affiliated lender, Taylor Morrison Home Funding. You can get a 4.25% interest rate on conventional 30-year fix when you go under contract from now until October 31st and close on and before November 21st. Plus, you get $10,000 towards closing costs. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Or you can secure a 30-year FHA 5-to-1 adjustable arm and get 3.75% interest rate for the first 5 years, max out at 8.75 after year 6. And again, this one you go under contract by Halloween, but close by November 28th.
That's a fair time.
Yeah, and that's what I've been noticing the last few months. The builders have been doing a lot of those ARM programs, either 7-1 ARM or 5-to-1 ARM.
Okay.
And lastly, believe it or not,
Toll
Brothers, and they've been doing this more and more often. Pulte used to be the one that did a lot of the interest rate incentives, and I don't see them as much. And TriPoint does it here and there to multiple communities. It gets confusing, so that's why I haven't been going over TriPoint, because it's just confusing. It's just
site to site,
depending on different community. There's a different program. I like when builders just do it as a whole for all their communities. So for a limited time on their select move-in ready homes, and you use Toll Brothers Mortgage Company, they're offering exclusive 2-to-1 buy down on a 30-year fixed rate. You must go under contract by now and close by the end of this month. So for the first year, you get 3.625% interest rate. The second year is 4.625, and for years 3 through 30, 5.625.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because they're always kind of the last to do some of these things, and they're doing basically what others were doing a year ago or whatever. Right.
Yeah, this is the most I've seen them consistently doing this type of interest rates.
Yeah, they're offering more than they have in the past, but they're always the most reluctant.
Well, the funny thing is their homes are more expensive, and obviously because they have jumbo loans, you're going to have to get it below that jumbo loan rate or price
point.
Yeah, in order to take advantage of this, because you can't do this on a jumbo loan.
So a lot of people come in with a lot of money down and then make it a regular loan. Also, I think that they end up picking more premium areas to build a lot of their property in.
Right.
Yeah, they're just a more premium builder.
Yeah, because you won't be able to get this in High Rock down in Ascension.
Yeah.
Or Glen Rock over in Grand Park.
Yeah.
What lower end homes do they have?
They just don't. Yeah. Other than maybe they've built some.
Well, like Cordillera and Ravencrest, those townhomes.
That's what I was going to say. They've built some, but those are still.
They're pretty high.
Yeah.
But they're not the jumbo loan rate, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
We went over a lot.
Any questions? Okay. Yes, I did. Thanks, Damien. If there's any questions, we're going to get into bets and start wrapping this up. We went over a lot in this hour.
Yeah.
Do you think you've covered everything you wanted to cover?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just the warning to sellers, if you will, a cautionary tale.
Yeah. It's amazing that we do this every month, and it's not scripted, really. I mean, the only thing we have scripted is the numbers.
Yeah.
But everything we say is and that's why Rob and I have always worked well together. Even from the beginning, we were able to feed off of each other and just go, right? Just talk.
It's our experience. I think we're really pointing out what is just factual for the most part. Of course, there are things that aren't, that we're going off of our feel and what we're seeing.
Right.
But facts are here. We start with the facts on the numbers, and we work from there.
Exactly. So now we're going to get to the bets and then wrap this up. You went first last time, and you said that there was going to be a 3,800 decrease. I said 2,500, just because what I remember, like roller coaster, what we've been seeing.
Yeah.
And it was actually a $10,000 decrease, but you were closer, so you won that bet.
Okay.
Without offers, Rob said 7,450. I said 7,400, and it was 7,502. So you won that one as well.
I got to go second on that one, and I remember you picked a good number. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, so you prices righted me, and you won.
Yeah.
Yeah. So months of supply, Rob said 4.2 months. I said 4.1, and it was 4.0. So now you went first last time for medium price decrease. I'll go first this time. And
it's getting tougher, isn't it?
It's getting tough because where's my Robin Ange? Alrighty. And then
it's getting tougher because we had such a big movement, compared to previous movements.
Yeah. We had a 10,000 decrease. I do see an uptick in numbers or sales, but I do think that we're now in that trajectory of going down. I don't know if we'll see another 10,000. I'm just going to say $5,000 decrease.
All right. I'm going to just go ahead and say 7,000 decrease. And I think the reason why we're going to see, we could be completely baffled as to why this doesn't happen, but I think the reason why we're going to see this is because the sellers that want to sell are giving deals.
Right.
Okay. So buyers know this. You can get a deal out there, just like with these new homes. There are sellers who are willing to incentivize.
Yeah, I think you could be right. We could see another $10,000 decrease.
Yeah. So I think we're finally in that mode where you're getting those, the sales that are coming through. If you got 1,800 of them, whatever that happened last month, right?
Right.
And you've got 1,200 people lowering their prices. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, ideally, if it follows the trend that we saw in 2022, just not as drastic, then it could be 10, 7, 10, 5, who knows?
It is a really who knows because we have, it's just, hey, we're being honest. We don't know for sure, but we're going to go by our guts and tell you what's going on. Okay. Without offers, I think I've got to be another one that's going to be tough because I think we are seeing some constriction on the inventory. It's minor, but I'll just shut up and say I'm going to go with 7,550. Okay. 7,550.
If it follows the trend for 2022 where the peak was at 81 or whatever, and then after October, November, it started declining.
Back a little bit.
I'll just probably keep it at 7,400.
Okay. Yeah, that's your.
Yeah. And then months of supply, I'm just going to keep it at 4.1 also.
I'll keep it at 4.2.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. And I'm probably going to be wrong because of what we're saying, but
yeah, because it's at 4.0 right now.
It depends on how much hangover comes. How many of those stubborn sellers are still hanging out?
One advice, guys: if you're a seller, don't be stubborn.
Yeah, if you got to get it done.
Yeah,
get it done.
Get it done. Because you may be now, like you said, competing against everyone that's withdrawing, and if
your best time might be right now while people are pulling back.
Well, we're seeing an uptick in buyer demand. Yeah, I may have a listing in Desert Shores, and since I've been seeing this surge of being super busy, I'm saying let's list now and don't wait for the spring, because now if you sell and you want to buy new construction on a move-in ready home is when you can get the deal.
You can get that double deal there.
Yes.
Get your thing done, and yeah. Listen, I think if you got to be doing it for comfort and hedging your bet there a little bit. If you made a lot in your equity, take that to the bank, but don't feel like you missed out on anything because you sold a little less than what the highest price was. I mean,
exactly.
You look at how much you've won and then base your comfort level on what's going to be next, what you're trying to do next.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments after you watch this. If anyone wants to comment right now, please do, because we're going to be wrapping this up. If you are thinking about buying or selling here in the Las Vegas area, I posted Rob and I's information down in the description below, as well as a blog post for this video, so you can see all the numbers that I've analyzed for the last 5 years for each segment, so you can see where we have done. I think it's very helpful to watch that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If there are no other questions, we really Thank you guys so much for watching.
Rock on.
And do it peacefully. And
we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.